This is the second year now where we're taking a trip like this. And what we want to try to do is replicate what would potentially be a Final Four.
We just got to the airport, it is currently 7 o'clock on the dot. So we got to check our bags in, and then hopefully we got to fly out safely and get to Washington.
With us having 30 teams in the region within a 2-3 hour driving distance, this is something that we necessarily don't need. So it's just good for the group to kind of replicate what will be in a Final Four like that. You need to have a good experience. It needs to be something different. So for us to just travel 6-7 hours away from here, it's not really different. So it's got to be a completely different environment. Texas is very different from Connecticut. State of Washington is very different from the state of Connecticut. California, the same thing. It's got to be a different experience for them.
I think these types of trips to Seattle, and it was Texas last year. Next year we've got plans to go to California. I think these types of trips are really good for the team. It gets the girls and the coaching staff to see one another outside of the practice environment, game environment. We've got to do different activities. We've got for dinners together, sightseeing. All these types of things are really good for team bonding. You don't always get to do in just your standard away trips on the bus. So I think Seattle was really good for that. A lot of the newer girls start to come out of their shell, show more personality, and that's ideally what we're trying to get out of everyone here.
De camino a Seattle!
The Western Washington game was a great game for us to have under our belt. While the results may not indicate exactly the nature of the game, there was a lot of other constraints in it. The travel time, going cross country, time difference. It was a 7 o'clock game, which turned out to be a 10 o'clock game for us with a time difference. All that stuff that kids have to deal with that normally they don't. So trying to replicate that. What if a Final Four is hosted, in the state of Washington or Oregon or California? Those are the restrictions that you have to deal with, and still be able to perform. We were also very, very fortunate that the new NCAA deal with ESPN, they picked us and Western Washington to be broadcasted for the first time ever for a D2 women's soccer game. I think the NCAA were very, very smart. You're picking two Final Four teams from the previous year that returned many of the players. I thought they were very smart, so it was a good experience for the kids, kind of be involved in that, and that's probably, to many of the players, it's going to be the closest thing to like a real professional setting that they're ever going to get to. I don't think it was a distraction. I think it was more of a cool experience. I don't think that had an impact on the result, but it was definitely cool to be part of it.
Unfortunately, it wasn't our best performance. Western Washington did outplay us, they deserved the win, but we feel like we didn't really show our full capabilities as a team, which was a little bit disappointing.
The feeling that I have after the Western Washington game was kind of the same feeling that I had last year from Final Four, and I felt like the players also had that same feeling. They couldn't perform, they couldn't be themselves. And the difference is that last year, that was our last game of the season. There was nothing else that you could have done. Different from this year, you have a whole season ahead of you, and hopefully we can pick it up from there and this mistake cannot happen again. This game definitely showed us where we need to be in terms of fitness and how do we need to perform if we do want to compete and win a national championship.
For me, that loss was painful to take. It was a heavy loss that, we haven't really experienced in my whole 4 years here, and upon reflection I think that, that there is a level that we know as a programme that we're certainly capable of. I think from now till November, December, it's just pure hard work and dedication and sacrifice that's needed to get back to that level.
There's no point in sugarcoating that. It was a hugely disappointing result against Western Washington, right? And the kids had to deal with that. They had to bounce back, and then come up and play against St. Martin's 2 days later. And I think as much as it hurt at the time, I think it's gonna be very beneficial for them down the road when we get into postseason play.
Two days later, we went to play St. Martin's. I could feel the anticipation and the hunger from the bus, from the group inside, that we just wanted to get out there and not only get a win on the board, but just show the coaches and our fans that we're ready to bounce back and UB aren't done yet.
But we did bounce back in the next game. Against St. Martin's, we came out, put on a strong performance, and the girls responded really well to that previous loss, which you're always looking to do. Once you have a difficult game like that, it's always important in the next game how you respond to it, and I thought the team did really well.
I think a trip like this gives the group an opportunity not only to go in there and try to do their business, right? But at the same token, they're 18, 20-year-old student athletes that want to see things. So I think it's a nice balance. You go in, you play the game, then you have a little bit of downtime. Maybe you can go out sightseeing and explore. We had a chance to go downtown Seattle, go up in the Space Needle and walk around in the beautiful downtown district. And I think it's a good experience for them to kind of put soccer aside, right, and just be themselves and foster a little bit of team bond within themselves.
So the main focus when we go on trips like this is of course to play games, but another great thing or a great experience that we get to do is to see all these wonderful places. They took us to a place called Deception Pass, which was a bridge overlooking the ocean and just a beautiful view of nature. And we also got to walk around in downtown Seattle and just absorbing this atmosphere and having time off with our team is just amazing.
So one of my favorite parts about Seattle is definitely going and seeing the Seattle Reign play. I'm a big fan of the U.S. Women's National Team and a lot of the players here in the U.S., so it was great for me to see Megan Rapinoe actually up close in person. You're not used to seeing those people other than on TV, so that was great. It was great to see how some of the drills that the Seattle Reign did were almost similar or exact to some of the drills that we do on a daily basis. And that's great because it makes comparing us to them means that we're almost at getting to the same level, and it's possible for us to be just as good as them.
So this trip to Seattle really helped not only the freshmen but the new incoming players as well, with just getting to know everyone off the field and seeing their sort of way of being. I've reached sort of a different connection with them, but not only with the girls, with the coaching staff. And I saw when the girls last year went to Texas, they had a great time and definitely had a great time again with Seattle.
I know we have a lot going on with practice and games and our homework outside of the soccer field, but it's also important to take the freshmen under our wing and make sure they're having a comfortable time, they're enjoying it. And for me, it's certainly something that I kind of take a role on and make sure all the girls are happy.
I really tried to help the team stay connected as a team and maybe take their mind off of soccer and just make sure they have a good time in Seattle.
From the Seattle trip, I think now that everyone's found their role in their team, and you don't see a breakdown or a difference in class, and that's really important as a team if we want to push on and certainly get to the national finals and produce a national championship winning performance.